Hey team, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about the two newest releases in the Ebonite lineup. They are the GB4 Pearl and the new Envision. Of course, the GB4 Pearl has been on shelves for a couple months now, but I didn't get a chance to review it when it was first out, and it's such a good bowling ball that I really want to talk about it. So we'll get to that in a little bit, but first we're going to talk about the brand new Envision. The staff players have been very pleasantly surprised by the motion that this makes at the back of the lane for a sanded solid, and a couple players have commented that this might be one of the best solid asymmetrical balls that Ebonite has come out with in a very long time. Of course, this is thanks to the new Envision core, which is powered by an 053 total differential that has plenty of flare potential and gives this ball plenty of hook for most medium heavy oil conditions. And it is also asymmetric at an 010 intermediate differential. That's barely asymmetric, but that is going to give this ball a little more shape at the back of the lane than your standard symmetrical balls. This ball has a little bit of a T-shape to the core, and that's going to mean that it's going to rev up later, and when that tilt starts to be lost as the ball slows down, that T-shape kind of takes over as the ball sucks toward the pins and gives you more back-end motion. This ball also has dynamic core, which is the blue stuff that you see when you drill into the outer. That's going to be that's going to be a higher strength to weight ratio than the original standard material that you use, and that translates to more hitting power at the pins. And this core is surrounded by the GVSX solid cover stock. That's the exact same cover stock blend that was found on the original Arrow, and that ball got plenty of compliments for shaping well at the back of the lane for a sanded solid. Now we're going to talk just briefly about the GB4 Pearl. Since this one's been out for a while, you guys are all very familiar with it, and this one has definitely been a staff favorite bowling ball across all of our brands just because of how versatile it is across even the heavier patterns and the lighter patterns. It seems like you can use it on more volume than you expect for a Pearl, and it still starts in the mid lane early enough. You can get in and swing it, and it still has the continuation to get around the corner even on the lighter stuff or the broken down stuff. So all in all, just one of the most versatile balls in the Ebonite lineup, and people are loving it. I'm not going to talk too much about this enhanced V2 core. All the Ebonite loyalists understand it. It's got a symmetrical 048 total differential, and it is an early revving, kind of smooth, blendy core. Paired with a pearlized cover stock, it's going to give you moderate to good length, and it's going to give you an arcing motion off of the friction. It's going to give you a good strength without being too flippy, too jerky, and it is very predictable because of that. Like the Envision and like all of the Ebonite mid and upper performance products, this one has dynamic core outer core material in it that's going to give you harder hitting power, and this one happens to be wrapped with the GB 12.0 pearlized cover stock. That's the exact same cover stock that was found on the Gamebreaker ASIM, so the difference between those two comes from the difference in symmetry of the core characteristics. Without delay now, I'm going to take you to the comparison chart, and we're going to detail a little more about where these fit in the lineup with the rest of the Ebonite lineup. I said lineup twice. This chart contains every release in the Ebonite lineup for an entire year, sorted by oil volume from lightest on the left to heaviest on the right, and by response to friction, with the sharpest responding balls at the top of the chart and the smoothest responding balls toward the bottom of the chart. Our new Envision is highlighted in yellow. It's built to handle a medium-heavy amount of total oil volume and sits in the strong category of ball motion, albeit shaded toward the sharp category of ball motion. It's built to handle a similar amount of total oil volume as the GB4 4 Solid, but you'll notice that it's quite a bit sharper responding when it encounters friction. That's due in part to the stronger GVSX cover stock, but also because of the fact that it's asymmetric with 10 points more intermediate differential than a like-drilled GB4 4. While the Polaris, with its stronger cover stock, stronger box finish, and more intermediate differential, is earlier diggy and overall stronger and suited for heavy oil volumes and flatter tournament conditions, the Ebonite Envision is going to get you through the fronts a little better and around the corner off of the friction with more assertiveness. That makes it better suited for fresh volumes when there's a little more shape in the pattern, and maybe on higher volumes when you see a little bit of breakdown in the mid lane, but there's still plenty of oil in the front part of the lane. Of course, if either of these balls are too early or just shaping too much for the pattern that you're bowling on, a step down to anything in the Gamebreaker series is going to be the perfect way to control the mid lane in the exact same manner, but just give yourself a little more length with similar shape off of the pattern. Like I mentioned previously in this video, the GB4 Pearl and the Envision are going to be an amazing 1-2 punch. Speaking of that GB4 Pearl, The versatility of this ball puts it square in the middle of our chart. It's built to handle a medium amount of total oil volume and is a strong motion overall, but I would argue that it could handle mostly medium heavy oil to medium light oil. All but the most extreme conditions are going to be very favorable for this GB4 Pearl. With the same cover stock as the Game Breaker ASIM, this one is just going to be a little rounder, a little smoother, perhaps a little earlier depending on what layout you put on it. But I have it as covering just a few more boards overall because it's got just a little more mid-lane security. It seems to lose tilt just a little quicker than the Game Breaker ASIM. It's just a little more versatile in my eyes because where the Game Breaker ASIM has a tendency to get a little more responsive to friction and a little more jackknifing, the GB4 Pearl has just a little more mid-lane security and just gives you a rounder, blendier, more predictable motion. But I want to make sure that you guys don't confuse that blended smooth motion for weakness, because certainly this ball holds its own at the back of the pattern. As I previously mentioned, if your Envision gets to be too much ball for the pattern you're bowling on, or just starts seeing the lane too early overall, the GB4 is going to pick up right where it left off. You can easily chase the pattern in from where you left off with your Envision with your GB4 Pearl and have the confidence that as you step in and in, the GB4 Pearl is going to continue to get off the end of the pattern the right way and go through the pins time and time again, even from deeper angles. That's the information I have on these two new releases in the Ebonite lineup, the Game Breaker 4 Pearl. If you don't already have one, I have no idea what you're waiting for, it's just too versatile to pass up. And the Envision, which is available at the end of April. These two are going to make an amazing dynamic duo. It's definitely turning heads toward the Ebonite brand. While you're here, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube and Facebook pages, Bowling Buckosh, and of course I now make 1-minute review videos on TikTok, so follow me at Bowling Buckosh on TikTok as well. Feel free to drop a comment below about either the Game Breaker 4 Pearl or the Envision, and check back often because I'm making new releases every time we come out with new products. Until next time, see you later.